communication. Just one moment, I'll bring in a few more people. Sorry. As I said, I'm responsible for external communication at Excalibur, and I will be the host for today's workshop. The topic for today is security policies, geofences, and audit logs. And our speaker, Marek, will talk about today's agenda in more details, but just for the purpose of introduction, let me summarize today's content of the session. Over the next 90 minutes, Marek will walk us through security policies, how they map user groups to PAM targets and enforce rule-based access. He will follow with the rule sets, building blocks of access decisions, including geofences, time ranges, and device checks. And finally, audit logs, non-reputable records of every action, ensuring compliance and forensic readiness. We will also see live demos of these features in action so that you can visualize and see how they integrate into your infrastructure. We invite you to participate actively in the workshop by asking questions and contributing to the discussion at any time. And of course, there will be also dedicated Q&A session at the end. If you'd prefer to postpone your question, please post it in the chat and we will get back with an answer. But if you'd like to ask questions during the session, which we appreciate, simply raise your hand and we will give you an opportunity to ask or discuss directly. Marek, please start. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Zuzana. So I would like to talk a little bit about the agenda, what is waiting for us, and what I will be talking about today. Edo will try to introduce Excalibur as a company in a short way. Also, he will be talking a little bit about the Excalibur SAM concept. And then we will move to the Excalibur SAM security policies. So I will talk a little bit what are they, what they do, how they can be configured. And also, I will show you all the necessary details, configurations, and maybe some of the best practices in the detailed demo. Then we will move to the rule sets topic because they are very tightly related to the security policies. So security policy, by the way, will not work without a predefined rule set. So again, I will talk about the rule sets as the concept, how to configure, for example, the way how the user authenticate or authorize his actions or activities. And also, we will go through a detailed demo, how to configure a simple rule set. Then we will move to the geofences. And again, geofences are very tightly related not only to security policies, but also to the rule sets. So I will talk a little bit about them. I will show you all the necessary configuration, how to configure, manage, and maybe also I will be talking a little bit about the possibilities and functionality within the Excalibur dashboard. And then finally, we will move to the Excalibur SAM audit logs. And I will try to show you what kind of information, how many details, and how many metadata or context information we are storing within the Excalibur application database regarding not only the user activities, but also about the administrative activities performed by Excalibur SAM administrators. And finally, you can ask questions and I will try to answer. Okay, Edo, the stage is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Marek. All right, so We are going to go through the basics as always, in case there's somebody who does not have all these backgrounds. So what you need to know is that we are based in Slovakia as a cybersecurity company. So all the EU legislation and regulations are applying to us, and we are building the product to make sure the regulations are fully met. Basically, this cybersecurity product is made from few different parts. One thing is the multi-factor authentication, then the privileged access management part, and also the AI as a last factor, or the last gate of the security. Of course, we are part of some of the European bodies, like the European Cybersecurity Competence Center and European Cybersecurity Organization, and of course part of the structures, or like Audit, which is a European Defense Innovation Scheme. So we understand that part of this whole structure needs to be a possibility for us to build a company that is possibly to be trusted by our partners and also by our customers. So these are the main basics. Marek, may we move a bit? Thank you. All right. So about the PAM and SAM, of course, there are two different approaches to the security of the access. The standard privilege access management is basically protecting the standard users or the privileged users rather than standard users, meaning some administrators, some people who are on the top of the level and have the access to the critical parts of your system. One thing is that, of course, it's correct to protect them, but the second thing is that nowadays we are in a area or an era that and even the standard user has the possibility to cause some issues if the credentials or any data is stolen or abused. So the SAM is protecting all of these standard users, as they are also the target, and we are doing it not by restricting the access, but to isolating the access or the user directly from the target systems. So that's why we are doing it as a stream access management. So we are just streaming the visual representation of the connection to the user instead of extending the connection to him directly. Right, can we move on, please? Thank you. And it consists from four layers. First layer is our multi-factor authentication that's providing the information the user needs to be fully authorized to connect to the system. There is a biometry, geolocation, and some more factors. There are 7 factors that might be fully configured by the administrator, depending on how strict they would like to have the approach to their security. Then the second layer, when the user is authenticated, he will get to the SAM dashboard, and the SAM dashboard allows him to see only just the part of the infrastructure or the system that the administrator allows him to. So he can connect to some predefined resources, and also everything within the connection is clientless and agentless, meaning there is no connection outside of the web browser that you're using. And that leads me to the third layer, that is a full auditability and visibility. So any user that is authenticated by the biometry is tracked down within the system. So any action that is committed on RDP, some servers, or even of the web applications is directly connected to the biometry. So that provides a repudiation, which is one of the main regulations that we need to cover in terms of European Union. And of course, there is the fourth layer, which is a AI tool, which is overlooking everything that is happening in the system, from the sessions itself to the whole package. So if you have like 20 or 1,000 sessions and you would like to have some section of the data from all of these, it's all possible to take a look at it through the AI agent. So these are the basics about Excalibur, about the SAM and PAM combination, and about our main security layers. Right now, Marek will guide us a bit deeper into under the surface to understand more complex topics. Thank you.
Thank you, Edo, for the short introduction. I would like to talk a little bit about the layers again. The security policies, process, and also geofences together with audit logs are covering the first 3 layers. So we are quite in the exclusive situation or workshop when we will be talking not only 1 layer, but about the 3 layers together. Okay, let's start with the security policies. So I would like to talk a little bit about what they are and what they do. So basically, security policies are in the Excalibur SAM such configuration objects that can link specific user groups to define targets. For example, like the dashboard access itself, then the SAML service provider groups, PAM target groups, and also to specify the access conditions through the rule sets. Since we have not only rule sets defined, but also the geofences, so later on I will talk about them as well. Security policies are governed by role-based administration. So system administrators manage policies across a whole platform or whole deployment. So that means system administrators can manage not only those security objects related to the system part of the dashboard, but also regarding the tenants. So if there will be such need to manage those security-related objects only by system administrators, that can be done in that way. Also, when we define and create some tenant administrators, so for each tenant, we will have several administrators. Those people can manage security objects such as policies, rule sets, geofences, and so on for their tenant exclusively. So this is the approach we designed and is currently ready to use. So yeah, basically system administrators have full control about their deployment or their Excalibur SAM instance. Conceptually, each policy or configuration objects pairs user groups, maybe 1, maybe more, with an action and also the target type. So first, we will define a new security object as the security policy. We will then select the action, and after that, we can select the appropriate target, for example, dashboard, PAM target group, SAML service provider group, and so on and so forth. Also, then we need to select some rule set. We can always select 1 rule set or multiple rule sets as needed. And then we can also enable or disable peer verification or just-in-time access, but it depends on the action type and also the target type. So for specific target types, the just-in-time access is not available. So it can be used, for example, for PAM targets and also for basically PAM targets only. So we will check this, and I will show it to you later in the demo. Okay, peer verification, basically it almost every kind of activity within the security policy can be enabled. Also, there is possibility to enable or disable the security policy itself. So sometimes we are performing such maintenance when we want to, for example, disable some less strict authentication policy, or we just want to users to be not allowed to log in because we are performing such maintenance configuration, so on. So we do not want incoming users to work with within the environment, to interact with the objects, and so on. Yeah. Sorry, I lost my mouse cursor, and I don't know why. I lost it completely. Oh wait. Okay, don't worry. Yeah. So peer verification possible almost in every kind of security object in mean of security policy. Also, we can configure security policy in such way that it is valid only in a specific time window. Maybe it can be defined or can be enabled or being evaluated during several days, or we can configure it that it is scheduled upon the repeating schedule, for example, specific days of the week, maybe a weekends, maybe night hours, and so on. There are multiple combinations possible. We will see that later. I already mentioned that it is possible to configure multiple rule sets within a single security policy configuration objects. And maybe you are asking now, what is the evaluation logic about multiple rule sets when we have, for example, one rule set which is less strict and the another one which is more strict and requires more factors to be provided by the users? And the answer is very simple. The less strict rule set will take place and will be evaluated during the user's activity. Okay, let's move a little bit. What are the defaults? Maybe also the scope and some kind of governance regarding the security policies. When we are deploying a new instance of the Excalibur SAM, so I mean a new installation, during the installation process, it automatically creates a baseline. So that means all the default security policies meant for registration, authentication, authorization, and the SAML authentication for the users. It also creates a default geofences or geofence groups based on the time zone which was selected by the administrator during the setup. So it's quite easy. That means there is no need to be those objects to be configured and created manually. So basically, after the installation, it is ready to use. And also, it can be configured and modified further by the system administrator if there are such demands or scenarios. Default security policies can be modified, can be copied to a new objects, but they cannot be deleted. That's because when you delete such security object in a mean of security policy, and there is no other one which will take place, in that case, the system administrator completely disabled the access to the Excalibur SAM, and later on, nobody, including him, will not be able to log in to the dashboard. That's the reason why those default objects cannot be deleted. Yeah, maybe you are asking, okay, there is no possibility to delete, but we can able or we are able to configure them. What in the use case or what in the situation when system administrator made a mistake and configured it absolutely wrong? So in that scenario, there is the we call that the there is a special mechanism possible to restore the functionality. It is a little bit kind of backdoor, but this is possible and available only users or administrators that have the low-level access to the system. So there is a built-in script that can be called and run, and after that, the administrator will be able to log into the Excalibur dashboard without any need of providing authentication factors. So administrator will be then able to perform single login without any additional factors. So it will work every time. And system administrator then can correct his mistake and configure the security policy in the proper way. And then that single login possibility is automatically disabled again. So system administrator will configure what is needed, what should be in there, what is working for him, and basically that's it. In multi-tenant deployments, also the security policies are configured for each tenant automatically. And by default, they are set up or configured that they are used by default. But if there is a need, tenant administrator can use security policies defined within the system level, but they cannot, of course, delete them and also modify them. So I think this is the best approach when we have multiple tenants, when each of those tenants do not have a technically skilled person or people with the role of system administrators. So we can prepare all the necessary configuration objects for them, and they can decide what to use and where to use it in the mean of secure access, authentication, authorization, and so on. Okay, I think there is some question. Let me check within the chat. Okay, how does the emergency access work? Okay, you said it's some kind of script. Does it run or per tenant setup? Like if one tenant is broken, you can fix just that? Yeah, that emergency script was created and designed for such scenarios where there is no possibility to log in to the system part dashboard anymore. And when there is some problem with configuration objects within tenant, the tenant administrator still can ask system administrator, please, I made a mistake, please configure it in the proper way, please repair that, please modify that so it will work for me. So yeah, that emergency script only for situations where there is no possibility for system administrators to log in to the system part of the dashboard. Okay, I will continue. Maybe some other questions? Okay. Let's go further. Yeah, I was a little bit talking about the evaluation and about the granting of those factors or authentication details provided by the users, but I would like to talk a little bit more about them. So yeah, typically when the user requests access, and it doesn't matter if it is the request to access the dashboard or to connect to the PAM target if there is the authorization required, or if it is the login performed by the SAML integration, or even the registration, because you can configure your own security policy for a registration action for the users. So the in such scenarios or activities, basically the security mechanism evaluates the selected policy based on the group membership of the user, and also it is checking what kind of rule sets are configured for such policy. And basically, if there are more rule sets configured within one security policy, or even if there are multiple security policies configured for such group of users and such type of activity, it will select the most easy way, or the less strict rule set or policy for that particular user to perform such authentication or authorization action. So you can have multiple rule sets within single security policy, and also you can have multiple security policy configured for such activity for a specified group of users, and the system will take care automatically. So the less strict set of rules will be used to evaluate the validity of the request of the user. And if all of those factors are satisfied, then the user is considered as correctly authenticated or authorized. Okay. Regarding the emergency access, I was already talking about. So maybe just a special attention or note about it. So if you are trying to configure something related to security policies or rule sets, please think about it. Use the common sense, because it is easy and very easy to make such a mistake. And in the past, when there was no possibility of emergency access, it was very hard to repair the human mistakes and regain the access to the system, because in that case, it was needed to access the application database on the low level and make all the modifications manually within the database. Currently, when there is a possibility to access the running microservice or running container on such cluster, the system administrator can always interactively log in to the running container, run the emergency script, log into the dashboard without any factors, rectify his mistake or mistype or typo or something like that, and to regain the access to the system again. Okay, let's move further. So the demo is in front of us. I am going to try to revive the mouse. Hopefully it will work for me. If not, I will use a spare one. Okay, mouse is still not working. It's dead. Jim, it's dead. Give me a second. I will use a spare mouse.
In the meantime, if there are any questions that you would like to ask, you are always free to join the discussion.
Okay, no further questions, so I will continue with the demo. So I'm going to log into the dashboard so we can check the security policy section and security policy object configuration. Okay, security policies. As I already mentioned, there are default security policy objects created during the setup, and you can see them in the beginning of the list, and then it continues with the 2 more items. As I said, it is not possible to delete them. So what the delete button is grayed out, is not accessible, and you can't to proceed with the deletion. It's not possible. But what is possible is that you can create a copy of that. So there is the copy button. You will click on the copy or duplicate, and the new window will open for you, and it is asking first for the new name. So I will just keep what's on the screen. Is absolutely enough for me. I was mentioning about the possibility to enable and disable the security policy. That button to enable or disable is right in here. Also, I was talking about that every security policy should be mapped to some kind of user group. It can be achieved right here in this part of the screen. So, for example, if I need a special security policy, for example, for auditors only, I can keep such a user group in my configuration. If I need to add more user groups, I can do so. So, for example, I will select the Glasgow office users. Also, I will select the test user group, and that's it. So that means this security policy object will be related only to these 3 user groups. Okay, I can see the question. Are these groups read directly from the Active Directory? No, they are not. The user groups are managed, created, modified, and deleted only on the Excalibur SAM application level. So currently, there is no such possibility to synchronize user groups directly from the Active Directory or from the Entra ID. So you need to manage them manually. Or if you are skilled enough, you can utilize Excalibur REST API to do so. So you can write your own script, which will periodically check existence of user groups in the Active Directory, and then it will compare the status or the list of them with the Excalibur SAM, and we'll take care about the rest, which was newly created or is missing in the Excalibur SAM, or was deleted and needs to be deleted from Excalibur SAM as well. Okay, hopefully the answer was clear, and I will continue. Okay, thank you. So then I was talking about the access, more or less about the action type and about the target type. So the action type is mandatory. So you need to select what kind of user activity you are interested in or interested of. So you will select, for example, the registration. Yeah, basically there is no target type. It's just a simple registration of the user, which who already received the invitation to the mail. So yeah, we are just talking about the registration itself. So we have defined the user groups. We have defined that we are talking just only the registration. And that means that those users will be will need to satisfy or to fulfill all these defined rule sets. As I mentioned, you can select multiple rule sets if you need so, and the less strict rule set then will be used and also evaluated against the details the user provided, in our case, during the registration. There are other possibilities. So there is a different action type, and it is authentication. Now we have possibility to select multiple target types because user can authenticate when logging to the dashboard. That's fine. That's the first target type. So when when user is trying to log into the dashboard, he will be asked to provide such configured rule set, or we can select more if you need. Okay, the next target type is spam. Okay, maybe you are wondering, okay, what has the PAM target to do with authentication? Yeah, this is the scenario when user will be trying to connect to the PAM target using his native access client. I mean, some kind of RDP client or SSH client. In the Windows world, typically the Microsoft Terminal Services client, MSTCS, or PuTTY for SSH access. And in that scenario, the user will be connecting using the RDP or SSH proxy functionality, which is built in the tunnel client. So in that scenario, user will configure his native client to connect, and he will be asked to provide authentication based on the QR code displayed within the RDP window or SSH session. If you will check our documentation, it should be listed in there. I will try to open that and find it. Okay, product manuals, PAM manual, and should be listed in there. If not, it can be in the user manual, I guess. And if not, I will search for that. Proxy. Okay, I cannot see that in there, so I will search for it. RDP proxy. Administrator manual, RDP proxy connection. All right. Like such. So user or administrator will check the connection details within the dashboard, how to connect, and then if there is the security policy configured for action type authentication and target type PAM, this is the scenario what the user will experience. So when connecting, for example, to SSH target, within his SSH client, there will be a QR code displayed, and the QR code evaluation or the evaluation of successful authentication is based on configured rule sets within the security policy. So that's this kind of activity. Let's go further. Next combination is authentication and SAML. That's the use case when we have the built-in MFA engine of Excalibur SAM integrated with some kind of third application. And we can configure the necessary rule sets for specified user groups. Simple. When the user is trying to authenticate to the integrated application, again, the QR code is displayed, and user needs to fulfill or to satisfy the configured rule sets. Okay, let's go further with the authentication type. I will talk about the verification now because it's shorter. And the authorization is, I think, the most complex, so I keep it at the end. All right, so verification is basically configuration of rule sets and user groups when user is trying to even register or authenticate somewhere where the peer verification is required. And that activity of verification by the verifiers is based on such rule sets configured within this kind of security policy. So we can not only require the peer verification, but we can also configure how strict the act of verifying such user is being performed. Okay, there is no possibility to select the target type because verification is always the peer verification itself, nothing more and nothing else. Let's move to the authorization. Yeah, we can select only the target type PAM. All right, but in such use case, we need to configure the PAM target, the PAM target group, or multiple PAM target groups, obviously. So, for example, I would like to do for example, Glasgow office users. I want to configure the Glasgow servers PAM target group based on those two rule sets. Yeah. So again, authorization target by type PAM. It is regarding the PAM target group, which is called Glasgow servers in this case. And now I can configure further down. So I can require, for example, the GID access. That means user must create his just-in-time request to access such PAM target within this configured PAM target group. And that just-in-time access needs to be approved by somebody. And that approval I can configure right in here. So I can configure how many approvals the user needs to successfully gather or require the just-in-time access to a particular PAM target. So, for example, if I will configure 5 approvals, in that case, the user needs 5 successfully performed authorizations by approvers. Okay, I can configure email or turn on the email notifications for approvers. In such scenario, approvers will receive email notification that with information that there are some approvals needed or waiting or pending for such user and such PAM target. So again, we can enable or disable the email notifications. You may ask, okay, if I will disable the email notification, how the approvers will get an information that the approval is needed? It's quite simple. They will get a notification within the mobile application. Okay, then I need to configure further, and I will select the approver group or groups. So I can select, for example, if Glasgow Office users wants to log into the Glasgow servers, I need an approval from 5 approvers, and those approvers can be from a user group, for example, administrators, also, for example, auditors, and maybe test user group. Okay. Then I can configure preferred approvers. That means those users are selected from these 3 pre-configured user groups. And I can select a preferred approvers because, for example, they have on duty, they are sitting in their desks right now, or behind their desks right now. They are watching the systems, and of course, they are waiting for such requests for JIT access. So I can select a preferable people that will receive the notification immediately after the JIT request creation. So I can select this one, this one, this one. Again, it's a good practice to select the same number of preferred approvers as it is the required approvals number. Why? Because those people, the same number, will receive the notification immediately and can approve or deny the access request. If I will do not configure any preferred approvers, because I can do so, the users from these configured user groups will receive a notification, but after quite a long time, or better to say, very shortly before that JIT access is starting or has been requested as a start with the specified date and time. So it's always good to select the preferred approvals, and also at least the same number as the required approvals is. Okay, that was the JIT time, just-in-time access. And I can also configure a peer verification. Maybe we can check where exactly we can configure the peer verification. Yeah, it can be configured within the registration action type. Of course, the authentication action type, authentication to the dashboard, the same, to the PAM, not. And it is not possible to select the peer verification also to the SAML. Why is that? For example, for SAML, there is the transaction turnaround about 90 seconds. So that means when somebody wants to log in to the third-party system integrated into the Excalibur MFA using the SAML protocol, the user, when there is the from the moment when there is the QR code shown on his screen, has approximately 90 seconds to fulfill all the necessary rule set factors and such details to be able to successfully log into the application. Yeah, 90 seconds, that's the typical turnaround time. So it's not enough to perform a peer verification. So we decided to not be possible to configure peer verification when we are talking about the authentication to the SAML. Okay, let's go further to the authorization. Yeah, when there is the authorization, you can ask for peer verification as well. And also, yeah, verification is the act of the peer verification itself. So we cannot configure a peer verification within the verification action type, obviously. Okay, I will finish the just-in-time access. Yeah. So I will select the PAM target group, and we'll finish the peer verification configuration. So I can select also if the peer verification is required for such user activity. The same, I can enable or disable notifications to be sent by email to the peer verifiers. I can also define a number of peer verifiers. So for example, 2. I can select the expiration time for activity of verification. So for example, if there is a user that needs to be verified by some kind of peer and is logging to the dashboard, I can select, for example, the validity of that successful request has an expiration time, for example, 10 minutes, like such. This also means I'm providing 10 minutes for the user to work without any further verification needed for the next 10 minutes after successful verification. And also this expiration time means when we are approaching, for example, 90 or 95% of required time, I will select logically the approver users group or groups. In such a scenario, I will select administrators and auditors. And I can also select the preferred approvers. And that means these 2 approvers will be notified immediately when the verification request was created by the user. And the rest of the users, when there is still not that the request approved by, for example, those 2 preferred approvers, the rest of all of these users will receive the notification when the time is approaching the required expiration time with the information, okay, there is still peer verification request pending, please take care. So immediately only the preferred approvers are being notified, and when the time is reaching its expiration time, all users are being notified. Yeah, the same, they are notified within the mobile application, or if I will enable email notifications, they will be notified by the email. Okay, and now we need to talk about the validity period. So we can configure security policy in that way that it is valid always. When it is enabled, it is valid, and that's it. We can configure that it is valid only during the specified time range. So for example, I can select the start date, which will be from, let's say, today, and it will be 6 o'clock in the evening. And I would like to configure the end date of such a security policy. And it will, for example, end at the Sunday or upcoming Sunday. It will be 11:59 in the evening. And that's it. So this configuration object or security policy will be valid only from that particular start date till this configured end date. And that's it. then it will expire and will be not computed or evaluated anymore. Maybe you can tell this is just for single use of this configuration object. Then we have a possibility to configure that as the recurring object. So we can define the recurring type if we want this to be recurring weekly or monthly. So when weekly, we can select the preferred days like such, or we can configure, okay, it will be every day within the week, or we can select we want to be the effective validity of this security policy monthly, and we can also specify specific days of the month. As you can see, the caption is telling you how to configure such days of month. So you can define selected days of the month, for example, first day, second day, first day, second day, fifth day, 10th day, and 20th day, and that's it. Or you can select or define a range of days. So for example, first up to 10th day, then 25th to 31st. And that's it. Okay, I can see I cannot define multiple ranges, but it's not a problem because I can configure or I can create a copy of such security policy, and I can specify multiple or different day range in the different security policy object. Okay, that's it. And I also can specify also the start time of the day and the end time of the day. So like, for example, 6 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the evening. And that's it. So if this will be my only security policy configured as authorization to the target type of PAM, PAM target groups are or is Glasgow servers. In those scenario, people will be able to log in to the PAM target only during the 1st to 10th day of the month, and only between 6 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock in the evening. That's it. That's the purpose why there are such possibilities to configure different types of security policies with different action types, target types, different user groups, PAM target groups, SAML service provider groups, and so on. Any questions? Nothing so far. Okay. So I think we can continue with the presentation further. Let's go. Okay, let's talk now a little bit about the rule sets. So I already mentioned that the rule set is the mandatory configuration object when we are defining a new security policy. And so they can be created, modified, copied, and also deleted as long as the user performing such activities has appropriate permissions. So for example, the system administrator, and then the system administrator can take care about the rule sets within all the system and also all the tenants. And when we are talking about the tenant administrators, so obviously they can take care only about their related tenant rule sets. Okay. Also, maybe I forgot, I really don't remember. For example, security policies defined within the system scope or system level are visible and can be used as a configuration objects within the tenant as well. Obviously, they cannot be modified by tenant administrators, only by system administrators, but tenant administrators can create a copy of them and use them further. The same is about the rule sets. So there can be rule sets defined on the system scope level and can be used within the tenants by the tenant administrators. Again, attention regarding this configuration. System administrators can check wherever their security policies or rule sets are used in the mean of tenant scope, because then if they will perform some configuration within the security policy or rule set, this change will be mainly rule sets. This change will be reflected to all the tenants where the rule set is used. So when using such possibility, be careful, because it will affect also the users within the tenants as well. Okay, again, when the system is being set up or the tenant is being created, the default rule sets are being created as well. So default rule sets regarding the registration, authentication, authorization, and SAML authentication. System rule sets can be modified, can be copied, but cannot be deleted. Administrator related or objects created by administrator can be again modified, copied, and deleted as well. Okay, let's go to the demo regarding the rule sets. So I was talking about the rule sets as a possibility, what can be done, and also what they do or what they are needed for. So let's check them further. There is the tab in the security policies section, which is called rule sets. Again, as you can see, there was a set of default rule sets created by the system. And me as an administrator, I can create a copy of those objects. I can modify them, but I will receive an exclamation that be careful, because you are editing a default rule set. If there will be something wrong, you will be no more able to log into the system or authenticate or to authorize. I will create a copy, for example, of this default registration rule set, like such. Now, there is a bug, but later I can modify the name of that. Then I can also enable or disable possibility to use passkeys by the users. Basically, there is no blocking or the system always allows users to create a passkey from or for their computer or smartphone or tablet, I don't know. But rule sets define if it is possible to use those passkeys created by users. So if I decide to allow users to use passkeys, I can enable such possibility. But in that case, there is no evaluation of additional factors such as obviously the biometry, geofence, IP address. There is possibility only evaluate the time and date. The rest of the factors is related to the smartphones and the application installed on them. So, factors. We can select multiple combinations. So, for example, PIN code, biometry, but be careful because when the PIN code and biometry are in the same row, in the same configuration row, that means there is an operator and between them. So when a user if I will use this rule set in the registration policy, so related users will be needed to provide PIN code and phone biometry during the registration. There is possible a different scenario when I will disable the phone biometry. Absolutely enough. So in that scenario, users needs to provide only PIN code, and during the authentication, they will always use a PIN code, not a biometry. I can make a life for users a little bit easier, so I can configure additional factor as this configuration. And as you can see, currently there is operator or. That means when user will try to register or authenticate or wherever I will use this rule set, that means user needs to provide PIN code or biometry. And now I cannot select anything more because there are only two of those factors. Okay, now we can talk a little bit about the geofences. I can use a geofence as the authentication factor or detail, which must be fulfilled by the users, but only in the case that the user is authenticating using the smartphone, not using the passkeys. Now I can select geofence. I can select a subtype of geofences themselves. So I can select multiple geofences, or I can select a geofence group, and I can define multiple geofence groups. As you can see, the geofence groups are a little bit larger blocks of specific parts of the world. So for example, if the come on, that stupid mouse. North America, Central America, and South America. In such configuration, I completely covered the western part of the world. Or if I need to, I can define that a little bit more granular. So I will select geofences only. And now I can select whatever geofence I have created within my configuration. I can select that geofence. So for example, there is a geofence called Europe, which covers Europe only. If I will select again the geofence group, in such case, I can select EMEA, and that means the Europe is a part of EMEA. Also, the Middle East is the part of EMEA, Africa as well. And this is the mechanism how it works. About the geofences, I will talk a little bit later. You can add as much geofences as you need. So, for example, I can select geofence groups with multiple geofences within them. And then if I need, again, some kind of specific part of the world, I can do so. So I can select or geofences, and I explicitly select geofences that I need. So for example, Australia, Oceania. That's it. Okay, that was the predefined set of details in the rule sets, but still I can go further because the add button is available for me. So let's do so. Now I can select the time range and add a new one. I can do that again. You can select and create as much time windows as you need, but please be careful, because if you will configure your security policy that it is valid in a different time range that you will define in the rule set, it will not play together. So in that case, in that scenario, you will have a non-functional security policy, because the time ranges will be not the same within the security policy as the configuration object itself and the rule set. So please be careful when defining. It is possible, it will evaluate, it will compute if the user is able or possible to log in or to authorize or verifies some other user during the peer verification, but it must be configured correctly. With the chief technical officer, we were wondering, okay, do we keep such possibilities within the configuration, or we will remove a possibility to define the time in the rule set and keep the possibility to configure them in the security policy, or vice versa? And I told him, please keep both. The administrator hopefully will choose what is the most appropriate for him, and hopefully the administrator will use a common sense to do not mismatch them. So again, use the common sense when you are configuring such requirements for the user. Okay, but we are still not finished, so we can go further and we can configure more. We can, for example, configure the phone connection. Phone connection is a little bit misleading name for such possibility, but hopefully in the future we will bring a possibility to use the offline phone connection as well. So that means the user does not have his smartphone connected to the internet or to the application server, which could be behind some kind of VPN access or so, or the user is currently sitting in the plane and his smartphone is turned or switched to the airplane mode and no internet connectivity. So yeah, you can now select the phone connection status as online or offline, but the offline functionality is not yet implemented as it should be. So only the online status is okay. And also you can configure in the phone connection integrity check. What does that mean? Application installed on a user's smartphone is evaluating the integrity of device. If the device is running authorized or original software provided by the vendor, by the manufacturer of the mobile device. If the device is not rooted or jailbroken, or if the bootloader is not unlocked. And also if the application was installed from the official application store, if the application was not installed as the sideload possible on the Android phones. So this is it. we are evaluating the integrity check of the user's mobile device. If the application installed will report, okay, this device is not considered as safe, this validation factor will be not satisfied, and user will not be able to successfully authenticate, authorize, or verify his peer. We still can go further with the rule set configuration, so we can configure the IP address. The conditions are two possible. We can specify specific IP address, or we can define IP range. So, for example, a typical use case of one of our customer, the bank, and that bank requires users to be connected to the application server only from the internal network. So users' computers needs to be connected locally on the LAN or using the VPN, because obviously the application server, the Excalibur SAM dashboard, is not accessible in other communication connectivity possibilities. And also the smartphones of the users needs to be physically connected to the internal Wi-Fi of the bank or connected using the VPN. So administrator knows the proper IP ranges and can define that directly here in the rule set. So then we can have multiple security policies with multiple rule sets configured. And for example, we allow all this connection for one set of users or group of users, and we block such access for a different user group. And that's it. Okay, any questions regarding the rule sets? Nothing so far? Okay, so now I will show you things related to multi-tenancy. Yeah. So I will go to the list of tenants and I will select this demo tenant number 1. And now I can check security policies configured in such tenant. As you can see, it is a little bit different list than that I have configured within the system scope. And also, this is the answer for the previous question, if there is possibility to fix possible problems with authentication into the Excalibur dashboard. This is it. So me as the system administrator, I can directly interact and modify tenant scope level security policies. And the same is for rule sets. So if there was a problem within the tenant related rule set, me as a system administrator, I can directly modify them. You can see that right here in the lower part of the screen. So this is the list of rule sets associated with the tenant. I cannot delete them, but I can modify them if needed. Also, I can create a copy of the system scope level rule sets, and then it will be automatically available in the tenant scope level. So this is the interface for administrators to be able to interact not only with the security policies of the tenant, but also with the rule sets. All right, so this is This is it regarding the security policies and rule sets. We can go further and talk about the Excalibur geofences. So basically, geofence is the some kind of virtual boundary, or we can talk about the box, about the rectangle, and so on. Maybe circle as well. And it is the graphical representation about the location of the user which we are evaluating, and how it access or how it affects the access. So when the user is inside that boundary, the evaluation is positive. So Excalibur SAM considers user as okay. The geofence factor is satisfied, and we can continue with the evaluation of other factors. When user is outside such boundaries, the evaluation is negative. So that means the factor of location is not okay for the particular user, and all the activity or request of the user is then denied. Okay. As I said, regarding the, for example, defaults and automation, when Excalibur is being set up, there is the set of geofences and also geofence groups created automatically. And it is based on the time zone of the administrator, or time zone which administrator will select as his or his home or default time zone. And rule sets are then configured accordingly. So when there is the administrator from, for example, Bratislava, Slovakia, configuring or installing a new instance of the Excalibur SAM, all necessary objects such as security policies, rule sets, and geofences are created manually, automatically, but in the rule sets are used and configured geofences or geofence groups related to European region. So this is the principle. When it will be performed somebody from Australia, the system will take care and will use geofences or geofence groups related to Australia. Okay, there are multiple possibilities how to use geofence or geofence groups functionality. There are two modes: basic mode and enhanced mode. In enhanced mode, you can try to search, for example, cities, villages, streets, or some parts of the world. And also you can use or define regions that are not based on circles, but they are the country boundaries. So in that scenario, you can select the country as the geofence. But this enhanced functionality requires custom API, Google Places API key, which needs to be provided by the system administrator. Why is that? This functionally is paid service, and it is paid as you go. So we as the vendor cannot purchase some key and use it everywhere and give that as a giveaway to our clients, because some clients are using only, for example, few Google Places requests per day, but the other customers can generate many thousands of such requests. So that is the reason why there is a multi-type of Geofences possibilities. Okay, let's check them directly in the demo. I can see that timing is a little bit short, but I promise it will be quite quick. Okay, so geofences. As you previously seen, the rule set configuration includes also the definition of the geofences or geofence groups, and this is how it works. So basically, I already have some geofences pre-configured, and geofence group is only a configuration object where I can include or exclude my desired geofences. When creating geofence, I can do that in two possible ways. Yeah, this is all what I have currently configured. So I can configure a new geofence. First, it will create a such circle on the map based on my location, but I can always move such circle, resize it, move again, resize, give it a proper name, and also include or exclude that in the specific geofence groups. This is it. It is quite simple, but if you have your Google Places API configured, it is possible to search for a specific place or specific street or village or city. So I will try to do so like such. I will select. Yep. I need to move the map a little bit. Yeah, the search works when I'm creating the geofence. So let's do so. Bratislava, like such. Yeah, this is it. So it has found the region, so I can move the circle wherever I want. And this is it. When I was talking about the polygon functionality or polygon, you can also do so as the possibility to search. So again, I will try to select, for example, the airport of Bratislava, like such, and it should create a polygon for me. This is it. This functionality of selecting specific API places will be enhanced in the future. So keep in touch and check the release notes as they will be available in the future. Okay, and the last section of our presentation or workshop is the Excalibur SAM audit log. So basically, we need to take care about every possible details regarding the users' activities, but not only related to users, but also activities related to administrators. As you already know, within the PAM session recording or session information, we have included a lot of metadata, also possibility to record the activity on the screen as a video, also possibility to keep tracking of the transferred files between users, computers, and PAM targets. Also information that has been transferred using the clipboard, and also information that has been provided by the user as the keyboard input. The audit log is basically the same. So we can keep detailed tracking about what was going on. So when it was, which user, all the necessary details, and also if the administrator performed such change of configuration, we also need to have the records of such activities. So this is it. Why it is important? Because we need to fulfill and to be compliant with specific regulations, not only in the national but also the regional. And basically, it is like such. Also, this information can be used for monitoring purposes and for possible need of forensic analysis in the future. So, for example, somebody deletes something or modifies something. We need to try to track it down to find what was going on, who is the responsible, and also the necessary details. And it is the so-called principle non-repudiation. So that means there is really, really comprehensive tracking information about the particular user. What is being audited within the Excalibur SAM? Lots of stuff, lots of possible configurations, and also activities of the users. For example, users groups, invitations, all actions performed by the users and also system administrators. Also regarding authenticators, I mean mobile phones as been registered, also passkeys as they have been created by the users, peer verification activities, just-in-time access requests and approvers, PAM targets and their groups, creation, modification, deletion, PAM sessions I already mentioned. Also, we need to keep tracking information about the tenants, their creation, modification, deletion. Also, the tunnel clients, SAML service providers and their groups. Also, geofences, geofence groups, security policies, rule sets, and the identity store. Regarding the retention of such audit log, there is no time limit of retention. So they are always available, and as long as somebody needs them. Let's go to the demo of such audit logs. Okay, there is the section dedicated specially to the audit logs. So you can completely check what was going on the particular, for example, day, week, or you can define your own filter and select more if you wish. And also some of the audit log records can be expanded like such. And also you can see, for example, I was a little bit playing with the configuration of PAM target. Also, I was trying to configure something within the default registration rule set. It was my user. I was creating the copy of that, because here you can see create the rule set, copy of default registration rule set. Green color means it was created. Also, Edo has performed creation of identity store. Here was my activity where I modified network policy. I removed a specific IP address range and set none. and so on and so forth. When you want to filter, it is possible. You can filter whatever you want. Sorry. You can select all those predefined sections or details you are interested of. You can select resource type you need to filter out. You can also try to filter the username and his activities. Also, you can filter date or date range if you would like to. And if it is simply done enough for you, you can go, for example, to the actions section, and you can check more details about each activity of each user. So, for example, today we were talking about the security policies and rule sets. So we can, for example, see that this user, which is called Arthur, was trying to authenticate. He was trying to authenticate into the dashboard using this smartphone. Okay. And he is currently listed in those two user groups. His IP address was this one. His status of his smartphone was connected, so that means the online. His location was this one, directly visible on the map. We can zoom if we need to. So this is it. And also we can check the definition of the security policy and all the rule sets which were evaluated and the result of that evaluation. So there was evaluation of the location. So user matched, it is fine. Also user used possibility from biometry on or PIN, and his selection was biometry and successful as well. Here we have information about the date and time. It's just an information because it was not set as mandatory for evaluation. Also the IP address information, and also the phone status. Okay, when we want to, for example, check what was going on regarding specific PAM target, we can do so. So we can check information about the specific PAM target in the section Audit Logs. In the section Audit Logs, we can see full history of such PAM target. Here, user called Patrick created this PAM target. We can see the date, we can see the time, we can see all the configuration details that were provided by administrator called Patrick. Also, we can see the history of all changes. Recently, I performed the configuration where I enabled possibility to use a clipboard and possibility to transfer the files. So on and so forth. You can check audit logs within, for example, tenants if you need to. The same principle. Currently, there is no audit log visible in this tenant because this tenant is quite old one. In that time it was created, we had no audit logs implemented yet, so there is no history. But if I will perform such configuration, it will be immediately visible in the section of audit logs. The same, for example, regarding the tunnel clients. Again, audit logs. As you can see, a lot of history was going on regarding this tunnel client. And so many different sections which also contains the audit logs, such as, for example, today's topic, geofences, yeah, security policies. Yeah, this was created by the system a long time ago. So that's the reason why there is no information, but I will check a little bit younger one. So for example, these, yeah, and here you can see already the audit log information. Again, network policies, and so on and so forth. Okay, this is it regarding the audit logs. And basically, it was all for today's workshop. And Zuzana, please tell us a little bit more about this limited offer, if you can, please.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Marek. So we decided, and we are happy to announce that we prolonged our limited offer. It will last till 31st of August, as you can see. If you would like to find out more about it, I am posting in the chat right now the website where you can find all the information. You can sign up. We will schedule a call with you and provide a quick check whether you're eligible and if this is something that would help you on your journey of securing your company. And it's meant for EU-based companies and organizations. So we are happy to provide more information if you would be interested in. Thank you. And also, if you have any questions, right now is the moment to ask us. We are happy to answer.
Okay, so I will check the chat section. Currently no question in there. I will check also the Q&A. Let me switch into that. No questions in the Q&A as well. So any other questions or notes or concerns?
If not, we would like to thank you very much. We will be sending you feedback. It's very important us to know what you would like to learn or what did you think of this workshop and about our series. And we will be looking forward to see you next week. Marek will present the topic of tunnel clients and proxies, as you can see right now on this slide. We will be very happy if you would join us.
And we have one question for you, Marek, in the chat.
Okay, some target can have two different security policies or need to be added another one. Yeah, since you can have one specific PAM target configured or added into multiple groups, in that scenario, you can create single security policy for each group, or you can create multiple security policies for one particular group or for multiple groups. And basically, you can combine that together, basically, however you want. So you need to keep a tracking of your configuration somewhere in the documentation, or maybe in your head, or maybe in your notes, to remember what was configured and how. So a simple answer is you can have not only two, but multiple security policies for one specific target. And you don't need to create a copy of PAM target. Yeah, okay. Any other questions? Okay, nothing so far. If there are any in the future, you can contact us anytime and ask what you are interested about. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Have a great day. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.